Traders, welcome to the AMA for the all-new inside bar, outside bar algo. Glad to have you here with us today, and congrats on your purchase and all that stuff. Of course, before we dive in here, we do need to post our disclaimer. We can't guarantee results, especially when it comes to back testing. That doesn't mean that necessarily that's exactly what it's going to be moving forward, right? Can't make any guarantees, but what we can tell you is that products and services are for educational purposes, and we will do whatever we can to help you along the way. There's risk in trading. Please understand the risks of trading. All right, great. Good stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the inside bar, outside bar algo. And so what we'll do is we'll just kind of start with the signal logic again. And I'm going to grab my draw tool here so we can draw on the screen as we go and all that good stuff. All right. So how many of you, this is your first algo purchase from ARC? If this is your first algo purchase from ARC, give me a 1 in the chat box, so I know if there's anybody new to the engine. Okay, yeah, Ken, congrats on the win. Hey, Keith. All right, cool. So we'll go through some of the functionality of the algo. What I can do, though, is give you a link to some training that we did. This will be helpful because it'll help you understand the core engine of the algo and how it works. So let me get that for you. And we'll start with that because that's kind of like your foundational training into how the algos work. And where is that link? Why is it not right there? Okay, let me pull it up. I'll find it. Review, free training class, no. Okay. I know, Jeff, can you track that down for us while we're going here? The brain training that we did, can you track that down from somebody on the team and then send it out? That'd be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I'll work
Yeah,
on it.
great. Cool. Thanks. That way we can make the most of time. Yeah. All right, sweet. So, you can't copy from the chat window. Can you click links from the chat box? If not, I'll put it on the screen, or we'll figure something out. Okay, as long as you can click the link, I think we'll be good. So cool. All right, so jumping back in to the signal logic. Here we go. So we're going to look at specifically this algo. So first off, what is an outside bar? What is an inside bar? All right, so let's take a look here, and let's just say this is a bearish bar and this is a bullish bar and something like that. Okay, so this bar right here is an outside bar. How do we know it's an outside bar? Because it swept both the low and the high of the previous candle. Okay. From the inside bar, how do we know it's an inside bar? Because it didn't sweep either high or low of the previous candle. So from an open, high, low, close standpoint, of course, you've got your outside bar is going to have a higher high and a lower low, lower low. And so you're going to have both. On an inside bar, you're going to have both a lower high and a higher low at the same time. Now, why is something like this important? Can somebody tell me why is this important to understand this? So I want to dive into how the algo works and why it works. What goes into the research? What goes into the development of these algos? It's not just run a back test and cross your fingers and hope for the best. You got to understand what the tools are doing so that you can understand exactly how to get the most out of it. Makes sense? So what would be the advantage of knowing that on an outside bar, you have a higher high to lower low, on an inside bar, lower high, higher low? Anybody got an advantage? Stops outside the bars. Think of it from time frames. What about your time frames, right? Let's say your swing structure looks something like this. And we put in something like that. Well, what is this? It's an outside leg because it was able to break the previous leg. So think of it like a small or a higher time. Okay. This is like a smaller time frame view of higher time frame action or vice versa. You know what I mean? So if your candle looks like this and it's an outside bar on the smaller time frame, it's going to look like that. So when you're thinking about trading outside bars and inside bars, you want to think of it as like you're trading market structure because that's exactly what it is. You're just, yeah, it'll tell you bullish, bearish. It'll also tell you where the market stopped and it's now back inside. So from a structure standpoint, if you think about it that way, what causes the higher high coming from a lower low? Well, isn't that the first wave of the Elliott wave theory? It's the first wave of a new trend. How do we know it's a new trend? Because it broke the highs. So what we're doing is we're taking the ability to trade on, say, a higher time frame, oops, but trade shorter time frame price action. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of advantage to using something like this. So from an outside bar perspective, that's why it's great to trade on the higher time frames, is because what you have is you have a break of structure on a shorter time frame, and then it's now, inside, whatever the case might be. So when you break one of these sides, assuming it's not a liquidity sweep, aka stop run, as some of you might call it, assuming that's not the case, then what do you expect to happen? Continuous movement. Well, if you're in a bearish market, wouldn't you consider that to continue short, right? So from an outside bar perspective, that's why it's better to trade those on, say, a higher time frame. On the shorter time frames, what you're doing now is you have let's say you have this bar, could be an outside bar, might not be, but then you get your inside bar. Well, what is this telling us? And we'll just pull this down so that these line up. But so the inside bar, what does this tell us? It tells us that there could be a number of things going on from a market mechanics standpoint. Okay, so let's take, for instance, this guy right here. Well, what happened there? We were able to break through an entire range and we got caught up in the low for a minute. And then the market came back up and now it's kind of going sideways. Well, this is from a higher time frame view. This might be an inside bar here, potentially, because if this is, let's say this is our first bar, this could all be an inside bar. So once we break, there's the move. So this is kind of what we're looking at. So from an inside bar perspective, that's why it makes sense to trade it on a shorter time frame. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of start with that to kind of break down what is the market actually telling us. Start there. What we're able to do now is we're able to trade on a higher time frame chart or shorter time frame chart based on what we're trying to trade. And we can see what's happening from a candle standpoint. Like if we break it down even further and say, let's go to, well, we'll just leave it here. That's fine. But on a 3-minute, obviously what's inside the 3-minute? Well, you have a 1-minute inside the 3-minute, right? 1 minute inside the 3-minute. This is set to, you're talking about over here, somewhere in here. I don't, there's an inside bar. So we got that trade, right? Is that the one you're looking at? I don't see any other trades. There's this, but we were already in a trade. Yeah. So good deal. This is just inside bars on this chart too, by the way. So cool. Yeah. So if we're thinking about, this is a 3-minute chart. What's inside the 3-minute, 1-minute bars? Okay, so while the 3-minute looks like this, well, what happened? Well, it came down, went up, came back. So the 1-minute might look like that because you have 3 bars inside of that. Well, what about this bar? Up, down, might have kind of stuck around a little while and then went down. Straight down, up, down, so on, so on. So what we're able to do with the inside bar, outside bar is we're looking at what's really happening when you're getting that break. And you're doing that on, you're able to do that with higher time frames and still be able to see what's going on. So anyway, that's why the signals work. This is a lot of it would have been trading hourly charts or 4-hour charts or something like that, where when you break on a 4-hour chart, there's going to be something significant coming from that, right? You would expect some movement because if it's able to continue breaking, then that's important to know. The other thing that we can factor in here is the fact that a market that moves in one direction is considered what? Balanced or imbalanced? It's going to be considered imbalanced. Why would it be considered imbalanced? Because the sellers outweigh the buyers on the scale, okay? And you can look at your scale like this. The sellers have tipped the scales and they are moving the market lower. What happens? Profit taking, more sellers step in, push the market lower. What happens? Profit taking, more sellers step in, push the market lower. What happens there? Buyers step in, push the market back up, more sellers jump in, push the market lower. Okay, so this is what's happening in these bars. So when you have an outside bar, you can assume that the market has then flushed the highs and then taken out the lows. And if you're closing toward the low as well, that's going to give you a signal that the market will a lot of times come back, stall out a little bit, and then break. And that would be the outside bar break. Okay. So just wanted to cover that a little bit to go over kind of the theory of the price action and what's really happening in the algo. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and disable this so we can go through the settings together. And actually what I could do is we'll just go and add another one, but we won't enable it. That way we don't have to disable. Okay, so let's go all the way to the top and let's go through what everything does, okay? Are you gonna let me change colors? Yes, okay, cool. So what is IB signals? IB stands for inside bar, okay? Inside bars, of course, you know what they are by now. And so if you want to enable those signals, there's your checkbox. What about outside bars? There's your checkbox. Entry offset, as far as I know, is the same. We can double check that and let's enable it. Yeah, the entry offset is set to ticks and it's going to be the same on inside and outside bars. Okay, so that number applies to both. So then we have max inside bar delay. What that means is how many inside bars are you willing to, not necessarily inside bars, but how long do you want it to go before you're willing to break? So here's our bar 1, or the mother bar, as you could call it. Here's the inside bar. Okay, so there's our inside bar. And how long should it take for you to get that breakout? If you want it to happen right away, set it to 0. If you're okay with it taking more than, a bar and then breaking, set it to 1. Okay, so that's what that's doing. I've got it set to 0 because let's go. I've just filtered it out to have less trades based on that. Minimum inside bar size. Do you want a minimum inside bar? That's up to you. Basically what this is doing is if it's completely like not moving and you've got, a big bar or something like that ahead of it, that might tick the ATR.
That's actually the that's a limit on bar 1 on the mother bar.
Oh, that's the mother bar.
Yeah, it says minimum
Bar
inside
1.
bar signal bar 1 size.
I
So
missed that bar 1. Okay.
it's kind of it's a mouthful.
Uh-huh.
But the idea there is if let's say you have the mother bar is like 4, let's say it's ES and mother bar is 4 ticks.
Mm-hmm.
And the next bar is 2 ticks inside of that. Do you really want that to be a signal? I mean, that's like noise, right?
Right.
That's the idea. So
Gotcha.
that way you can make the mother bar have to be at least 6 ticks, 8 ticks, 10 ticks, whatever you want it to be. That's
Yes.
why we put it in there.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, good deal. So, perfect. So bar one, that's why he's here, fellas, folks. Yeah. All right. So you could set it to ATR as well. I think that'd probably be a good way to go about it. I like to set a pretty fast ATR, so we'll just do 5. Minimum inside bar signal one size, 1 ATR. Okay. So it's got to be bigger than the ATR in that case. Enable outside bars, signal delay, same type of thing. How long should it take to break? Now on outside bar, you might be a little bit more liberal with this number in the sense that it might take 3 bars to break the outside. But if it does, then that could still be great, So that would be a little bit different. I'm going to keep these disabled for now. We'll look at it down the line here. Okay, so entry offset. Which one am I on? I can tell you. I'm on MNQ right now. Yeah, so entry offset, obviously you're not going to want to set it to 1 on a on NQ. So I've got it at least 4. So we can, go with that. The other thing is inside bar entry method. So what does that mean? That means where do you need to break in order to get in? So if we go back to this signal, we've got the inside bar here. So you have 2 factors. This is your, mother bar, right? And that's got a high and a low. And your inside bar has a high and a low. And this is a terrible example because it's really small. So it's not going to make much of a difference in this case. But the theory behind this is, I'll just draw out some candles that are easier to see. And let's say this is our inside bar right there. Okay. So the question is, do you want to trade the breakout here? Do you want to trade the breakout at the low of the mother bar or the inside bar? Or if you have an extra inside bar and that one's inside and you have a range, do you want to trade the range of the inside bars? And you can do it that way. So you have a couple different options. I think the most common options are going to be the inside bar and the original bar. Okay, the mother bar. We'll call this mother bar, MB.
Hey, Jim, let's just
Yeah.
talk briefly about the third option.
Yep.
Probably
Sure.
not used much. We put it in there in case you want to be very aggressive. So the last inside bar means, right before the break.
Right. That's
So
what
it just ignores the range. It just looks at let's say you had 3 or 4 bars before the break, and then that last bar is a small bar. And then, that way you're aggressively entering, as soon as that last bar is broken at the high or the low. But testing, we focus mostly on the range, the inside bar range for the testing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. So inside bar range would probably make the most sense. And if this is set to 0, then it's going to be the same. It would be just one inside bar, so it'd be based on just that one inside bar on inside bar range, obviously. And then there's actually a good graphic here, guys. I'm going to bring up where is it here? The manual. Let's pull it up because this will make a lot more sense. It's better, go figure. It's better explained in the manual. That's why you guys gotta read it. It's good stuff. Inside bar, breakout level, breakout long. Okay, so yeah, so here's your example. Let's zoom in here and we'll take a look at it. So you've got some inside bars. There's multiple here, right? There's your first inside, this is inside, and we're looking from a standpoint of the mother bar. So if all of these bars are inside that mother bar, then those are all considered inside bars. They don't have to be inside each other. They just have to be inside the first bar. So the question is, where are you trading the break? Are you trading the break right here on the last inside bar, or are you trading the breakout range? Range is going to make the most sense because you're going to trade the low or the high of the range. Okay. You can also use bar 1 as your range, in a sense that if you want to trade the breakout of that, then you could do that. It's a little bit you're going to not get in as early, but you're going to be more sure that the market is breaking, right? So that could be a good way to do it as well. And the same goes for stop. So you have multiple options in terms of your stops. Yeah, so here it is in last inside bar range, and bar one. So great image of that. Outside bars, we'll skip for a minute. And offset, obviously, how far beyond that do you need to get to before you enter? Stop placement. Yeah, here we go. So stop placement, same thing. You've got this is bar one. Are you going to use that high? You're going to use the high of the range, or you can use the breakout bar, which is extremely aggressive. Okay, because then it's like you're assuming that that thing is moving and it ain't going to stop. So trading futures, I think we all kind of know better and would put it at least to the inside bar range, but you can see what works for you on your
Hey,
markets.
Jim, can you go back to that stop picture?
Uh-huh.
I want to say one thing about the breakout bar.
Yeah.
It's not going to be used often because it's so aggressive. But one thing you have to understand is that that's an intra bar entry. So that means that at the time of the entry, when it breaks the level that it's supposed to break to enter, it's going to place the stop at the opposing wick of that breakout bar. But that breakout bar is still forming, right? It hasn't closed yet. So what could happen is if it right after you get filled and it reverses and trades through that level, after the fact, when you go back and look at your chart, it may look like it put the stop inside in the middle of that bar because it traded back up and closed above it, that where that stop is.
Yeah.
So it's not going to, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be at the opposing wick of that breakout bar later on after that bar is closed, because it could trade back up through it. It's not waiting until the bar closes. It's placing the stop at the opposing wick when the bar is still in the middle of forming.
Let's say like what he's saying is, let's say it opened here and then, went down and never came up at all, and you broke, your entry could be here and your stop could be here, and you can get stopped out on the same bar. And that's what he's saying. Yeah. So that's why it's extremely aggressive. But it's an option because give you the option, let you decide what you want to do with it, right? Better to have options and not need them.
Yeah, maybe you put like a tight stop and a big R multiple for the target, and then you just
Mm-hmm.
bank on the winning percentage being in your favor.
Yeah, then it's a momentum play. Yeah, exactly. So cool. So we're good there. So those are, sort of the setups in terms of the strategy. Of course, you've got, long and short, you've got fixed cost available to your percent of balance, which is great. Same type of deal there. Entry order type, market or limit. I think most are going to trade market because if the market's breaking, you want to be in it. Auto disarm mode is available. Let's go to stop loss and targets. So we can look at those. The stop loss, again, we kind of looked at what your options are. Do you want to enable the algo stop loss? If you do, then you've got the three different options. Do you want your stop to be placed above the mother bar, at the edge of the range, or on the breakout bar, which is extremely aggressive? I think most of the time it's going to be inside bar range, unless you want more room to run, and then you can put it to bar one. Offset percent, which is really cool, this is telling you if your inside bar range is, this is your inside bar range. How much, assuming we're breaking down, how much above this do you want your stop to go? So if you have it, whatever percentage of that, if it was 100%, it'd be obviously the full size of the range above. And I think 25 is, probably a good number, but you could test different numbers, 20, 25 to 50, somewhere in there. So that's an option. Of course, you have ticks above the range as well. So if you want it to just be static number of ticks above, that can be great for markets like a CL or an ES that doesn't have a huge tick count. And then on say NQ, you might opt to go with percentage because each bar is so vastly different that it makes more sense to use a percent. Okay. Minimum and maximum allowable stop, depending on your own preferences. You can set that accordingly. And then if you disable a algo stop loss, you're going to get just ticks. How many ticks do you want your stop to be? And so on. And then you also open up the opportunity to do trails, break even triggers, and so on. So if you're using the stop from the algo, you don't have that opportunity to trail stops. You'd have to do it manually. Okay. Target type, you've got static ticks, risk reward, or percent of ATR. So that's up to you. I've got it set to risk reward 0.8, and that seemed to be a pretty decent number. And I think I, tested at 1.52 and it looked great. So we can look at that. Cool.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Let's just briefly mention the minimum allowable stop. You have it set to 1. That's just the default, right?
Mhm.
So what you have to keep in mind that is if you're using dynamic sizing for the trade size. So like, for instance, in this example, we're using $500 fixed risk. So if you happen to have a setup where the bars are really small and it generates a stop size that's very small, then what happens is the software, and this only applies if you're using fixed dollar risk sizing. But let's say you say $500 of risk, and let's say the stop is 5 ticks. This is let's say 10 ticks because it's easier math. So on MNQ, 10 ticks means $5. And so $500 divided by 5 is 100. So do you want a 100 lot trade? So you need to make sure you set that minimum allowable stop loss to some number that doesn't put you over your max. This applies more to prop traders, than other people. But you see what I'm saying? So you probably want to put that minimum allowable stop to some reasonable number so that the calculated lot size is not so big that it puts you over what you're comfortable with or what your funding company allows you to have. So that's just something to remember if you're using fixed dollar cost sizing.
Yep, exactly. Good call. Yeah, we talked about that last time, right? That's a good factor there. Outside bars, if we look at that, then that should open up the stop loss method to the outside bar or the breakout bar. And I think, again, kind of going back to that, I think most traders are going to use the outside bar versus the breakout bar because then it's an intra-bar stop. And that is very, very aggressive. So, yeah, we'll leave that there. Again, I just had it turned off, which is why it wasn't showing. Cool. And then we've got all our, our normal offenders here, the time controls and money management and miscellaneous filters, and you've got blockers, and you can choose to trade certain days and block other days. Miscellaneous, you can limit how many trades you take in one direction. That would more apply to those that are looking at, it's a breakout, and it's, if you're trading an outside bar, might make sense to limit trades in one direction. So you can do that. Test with that. Market structure, we've got the zigzags that can automatically plot for you, and you can require that as a structure bias. And then let's see, moving average filter. So you can have a double moving average or you can have a single moving average. Of course, if you use single, then that just means that the market's above that moving average, then it's going to trade long and so on. You can set it to the primary bars on the chart, or you can set it to a minute chart. So if you want it, you're trading on a 3-minute, but you want to see the 9 and 20 on a 15-minute, you can do that. So that's an option for you there as well. And then, of course, the VM lean down here, you've got options for the histogram, the BBs, or an EMA crossover of your choosing. You can set those periods as well. So that's everything that the algo does in the settings. We've gone through that. And what we'd like to do on these events is go through an optimization example to show you how to optimize the tool. Right now, this is set to inside bar entry method is set to bar 1. It's only set to 4 ticks beyond that. Minimum bar 1 size really doesn't exist because I've got it set to 1. So, and then 0 delay. Stop loss is set to 25% of the inside bar range. Okay, so this is how this is set, and we can see there was a trade there. We can go look and see if we find some more in here. Let's zoom out a little. There we go. Okay, there's a couple more trades in here. This one would have been a stop out. It went short off of this inside bar right here. So let's highlight that. There is bar 1, and then there is our inside bar. And it broke the low, so it took the trade and got stopped out. Here we have bar 1, inside bar, broke the high, took out target. Okay, so that's what's going on there. If there are some trades that, you might look at it and see, okay, there's an inside bar, it didn't trade. It's because this filter is set so that if the EMAs cross under, it'll take shorts and it won't start taking longs again until here. So the idea behind that is that momentum is on your side. Again, with breakout type of patterns, you're going to want to see that you have momentum on your side a lot of the times. Like here's an inside bar. I don't know, maybe that low is equal. I can't really tell, but that gives you an idea what's going on here. So let's take a look. There's NQ. These are all set on 3 minutes. NQ, ES, CL. These are not optimized. Okay. These have not really been optimized yet. I just pulled them up on the charts. I looked at the chart to get my starting point, and I just put it on the chart and looked at it and said, okay, these look good. So we need to go in and optimize. So what do we have in terms of settings now? Let's go in and check it out. Let's go here. All right, so these are the settings that we have from the launch. We've got MCL, we've got MES on a 15 outside bar, MES 15 outside bar, MNQ 3 inside, and then RTY on a 1 minute. So we've got some things here. We don't have a 3 minute on MES. We could look at that. If we were to optimize anything here, what do you guys want to optimize? You tell me. So we can optimize anything, it doesn't matter. And we'll just do a whole different thing for a 3 minute. We could do a 5 minute. We could look at 1 minute, although it's not going to be, you're going to have to treat it a little differently than you would a 3 or 5 minute. Somebody chime in. What do you guys want to look at? No. Don't misunderstand, please. The templates that I have on my screen are not optimized. These are, well, these are, okay? These are optimized. Mine are not, okay? I leave that for this event. Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to give you stuff that's not optimized. Yeah, try 5 and Q. Got a lot of 5 minute coming in, so we'll focus on the 5 minute for sure. And so far I've got a couple votes for NQ, MNQ. And I think we've got a couple in here that are already optimized. Why don't we, yeah, MNQ5. Yeah, well, let's go MNQ5 because we don't have one on 5. So that's fine. Where's my backtester? Okay, there we go. Let me save this. I started working on crude a little bit here. We could save that. Whoops, save this as a kind of a starting point, and I can come back through here a little bit at starting. Okay, cool deal. Let's go to MNQ. 5 minutes. And we're going to start from last Friday. Go through last Friday. And I'm going to go 2, 3, 4 weeks minimum. So I'm going to go from the 29th. I want to see the 5 weeks so I can get a whole bunch of data and then we can check it out. We might need to even go further back. Okay, I'm going to do this so I can see a little better. There we go. Okay, so inside bars, inside bar range. That looks good. Delay. We'll let it delay us up to 2, and then we'll filter it back down. Inside bar minimum size, we're going to do ATR set to 5 period with a 1 ATR minimum. Yeah, let's go with that. Entry offset, let's go 10. And then we can finagle that number. We'll just keep all that at 500. Algo stop loss, minimum stop, I'm going to do 20 just because I don't want to trade anything on MNQ less than 20 anyway. Max allowable, don't care. Percent, definitely percent for NQ. We're going to start with 25 and we can add or subtract from that. We'll go based on the inside bar range, risk reward. I'm just going to do it even 1-to-1. We'll go start time 9:45 to noon, ignoring the open would be ignored anyway, but that's fine. We'll leave that on in case we change the times. Money management, we're not going to optimize based on money management. I want to see the signals.
Jim, you might want to skip holidays.
Do we have, oh, we have President's Day in there. What day was President's Day? Do we know?
Yeah, I do. It was, I have it all here. Hold on a sec. Got my holidays spreadsheet. So Martin Luther King, no, that was before so
Yeah,
President's Day was February 19th.
Okay, so we'll add Feb 19. I'm going to go ahead and add Martin Luther too, just in case.
That was January 15th.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Let's go back. Cool. So we'll add those dates and then be good to go. Awesome. All right. Money management, not worried about it right now. Not worried about that right now. Moving average, I do want to see them, but I'm not going to require it at first. Structure, not worried about that right now. VM, I'm not going to require the histo, but I will see it. Good to go. Well, let's run it. So this is kind of our starting point. This is where we're coming up with a theory. We're going to go check it out on the chart and see what we find. So here we go. Now, there was a question about which markets worked the best for me. I haven't really done much testing with this. Busy getting ready for the launch. That's more Jeff's that's Jeff's wheelhouse. He does the testing for us.
Well, you can see we provided templates for 4 markets. I think, any of the equities would be great. We did have some luck with crude on the micro MCL.
Yeah.
Didn't really have time to go beyond those 4 markets as far as, looking at optimization. You can spend the rest of your life optimizing if you want. But I think it's pretty versatile. Maybe just start with the 4 markets that we provided templates for, and then try your own hand at some optimization too. If you like, if there's other markets you like to trade. Yeah. It's not much of an answer, I know, but
no.
I think it's pretty versatile. I think it can be applied to a lot of different instruments.
Yeah. I mean, you could trade it on anything. You could even try this on Forex, guys. You could trade Forex with this. I'm sure you'd do pretty well. Anything price action on Forex is great. Cool. So we've got our first test in the books. We've got about 46 trades. It's not enough for me, so I am going to go back to the 8th. I want to try to get about 100 trades or close to that if I can, and then we filter down based on what we're seeing. So
you could be getting a reduction in number of trades with your minimum bar one size being 1 ATR. It's possible.
Yeah, we could size that down.
You might want to do a half an ATR. I don't know. Just an idea.
Yep. Absolutely. No, that's a good point. I don't know, the settings that you had, were they on micros or what did you have them on, Jeff? I don't remember. I could pull them up.
Everything was micros.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does both, Daniel. So The question is, does a moving average filter only indicate direction of the trend, enter long or short, or does it focus on price cross to determine point of entry? So if you have a single moving average, then price needs to be above it to trade long, below it to trade short. You can do the double moving average, which would mean that if the fast is above your slow, then it will trade long, and if it's below, then it'll trade short. There's a way to sort of trick the system to where you flip the moving average 1 with moving average 2. So say if you were using a 9 and a 20, say your first EMA was a 9, your second EMA was a 20. The system assumes that your first EMA is fast, your second is slow. If you reverse these, then you can trade long when your 9 is below the 20, and you would be able to trade long in that case. So it's a way to kind of trick the systems. I love that about the double EMAs, is that you can look at trading reversals in that case if you choose. Yeah, you can test it on the London session, absolutely, and see what you come up with. We'll go down to 0.5 on the ATR sizing. See if we can get some more trades in the bundle here so we can go check them out. All right, so we'll take some notes here, and we'll type some things up while we're going. So what is the process for optimization process? Step 1, enter assumptions. 2, you're looking for around 100 trades, and then you're going to filter from there. So the idea is try to get up to about 100 trades and then bring it down to get your win rates in line and everything. So that's a good question, John. That's a question for Jeff. Jeff, you can chime in on that one. I don't know. Yeah, you do need to update. Okay. Yeah, so the question was, can you run on an 8.0? And the answer is no, you cannot. You need to be on the 8.1 to trade with Ninja. Okay, so right now I'm set to 1-to-1. I've got 90 trades. That's enough. That's enough to work with. So now what I'm going to do is 3 is really go to the chart. What is the chart telling us in terms of things that we're looking for? Would be stops, would be targets. Are they too tight, too loose? All right. Those are kind of the things on stops and targets. And then we want to look at potential filters. Okay. So things like the VML, the EMAs. Also, we want to look for entry points. Do we have the right entry points? Are we in early? Are we in late? And then are there trades that we don't want to take? Any trades we don't want. So we can look to filter those based on, again, some of the filters or different entry points and that sort of thing we can finagle if we need to. Potential filters, structure would be one, right? So that's kind of the process. So we're going to go through that. Let's go through it now. We're going to start from front to back. And the first thing I'm going to do is make the chart look a little different because I don't like the grid lines. They drive me batty. So we're just going to get rid of those. All right. And yeah, that's fine enough. You guys can see that okay? We can change the candle colors if we really want to. If it'll let us, maybe. Maybe it won't. No, it won't. JK. All right, so let's go check out the trades. Trade numero uno. We'll just kind of look through a handful of them. This is bar 1. This is an inside bar. It took the trade up here. Worked out just fine. We could have traded the outside bar as the break. Still could have done pretty good. Question Jeff.
Yes,
if
sir.
we set it to bar 1 and we set it to limit, can we set it to pull back and trade a limit order down here?
Yeah, that's the limit offset setting. So if you go to your entries and you go to limit entries,
Mm-hmm.
there's an entry offset for limit. So what you're
Okay.
doing is you're establishing the um, price at which you will only be willing to enter. So if you change it to limit, you got it market right now. So
There it
change
is.
it to market to limit, and then a new parameter will show up called entry offset ticks.
Mm-hmm.
0 means it's just at that price of the signal.
Price. Mm-hmm.
If you put 3, then it'll require it to pull back 3 ticks before it'll trigger the entry. So, you might not get filled.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. That is something that could be potentially great on this too. Also, as an added hint, it could be good on thrust, even potentially. That could be another one you might look at doing something like that. But so that's cool. Good to know. We will keep that in mind because we may end up doing something like that. All right. So could we have gotten a better entry by doing that? Yes, that's the moral of the story there. Okay. Could have
Oh,
gotten a
sorry.
better.
One more thing. So
Yeah.
on that, you can specify how many bars. It's the
Yes.
next setting after that. It's limit pre-order. Sorry, it's well, you have it back on market, but
Yeah.
if you put it back to limit briefly, you'll see maximum pending. I'm sorry, maximum pending order bars. A couple down.
Oh, this.
Maximum pending order bars. So that tells you how many bars you can keep that limit order open.
Yeah.
If you want it to fill within that first bar, you just put 1. But if you want
Mhm.
to wait, if you're willing to wait a couple, 2, 3 bars before it comes back to fill you, then you just put a bigger number there.
Yeah. And then the distance is at ticks.
Yeah, that's tick. So what that means is that if it starts to move away from you, at a certain point, you're going to give up. All right, well, it's moving away. I'm not going to get filled.
Ah,
I don't want to wait till it goes all the way in my direction, then comes back and fills me. Then by then it's too late. So that
yeah.
just says by a certain number of ticks away from your price, then it'll just cancel the order.
Love
We
it.
got all kinds of bells and whistles in here.
Oh my God. It's just the fun never ends. That's why he said you could spend your whole life optimizing.
Literally.
There's no limit. Millions of possible outcomes. All right. So how do we make it easier? How do we make it easier on you so that you can just trade and get in, right? So that's the idea. So here's bar 1, inside bar, inside bar, inside bar, break. I'm going to tell you, I don't like that. I don't like it. Either one, I'm going to get in on a pullback, or 2, I'm going to wait till it's punching through. If it takes more than a couple bars, to me, it's dead. It's like, are we going to move or are we not? I want momentum. And if the market's stalling out a number of bars, to me, that's not great. So I'm going to put this back to delay. Let's go back to 1. Let's go here. Bar 1 is here. Looks like I can't really see the wick of that too well. But then there was the break above based on, yeah, that is valid. And this one, it's a stop out pretty much no matter how you play that. It's a stop out. Could we have done anything differently to avoid getting long here? Not really. I mean, structure's up. The EMAs are up. I mean, unless you're thinking that it's going to reverse, you could flip the EMAs and make this your EMA 2 and this your 1.
Possibly if your 2 histo EMAs were faster, it might have kept you out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it
Like
didn't
if it was a
cross
lot
over to maybe
faster,
the
then it
next
would have
bar.
crossed earlier.
Yeah, so that one is what it is. Then it came down. We've got the inside bar here. We broke further up to the inside. So this one, if we had chosen to trade on an offset type of thing, you would have got in here, and depending on how tight your target is, potentially could have gotten a target, but realistically, maybe not. Okay. So what could you do to potentially avoid this trade? One is you can set a higher buffer, but then you would have just gotten in up here. The other is you can set it to the mother bar. So this would be if you traded the breakout here, you wouldn't have gotten in until here, somewhere in here, and then stop would go above and you'd be cruising. So that's a possibility too. We may look at doing the mother bar instead. Okay, let's go back again.
You can also use the moving average crossover.
Mm-hmm.
You use that on a few of the templates just to keep on the right side of the trend.
Yep. Our inside bar is defined as lower or equal high with high or equal low. So in other words, is it equal lows and equal highs? Is that allowed for an inside bar?
No, no.
Okay, it
If
does
it's
have to
equal, if
be
it's equal,
lower.
we don't look, we throw it out.
Cool.
It
Good to know.
has to be completely inside.
Yep. Good. Good deal. So here's our inside. A little aggressive on the entry there again. If we had set it to the mother bar, we would not have taken that trade. Let's look at this one. We're looking at, there's our mother bar inside break. Stop was a little tight. Maybe we can go with the mother bar for the stop. Gets us into some bigger trades, sure, but could prevent us from taking some. If the market's a little whippy, it keeps us out of those trades. Same deal here, right? Mother bar would have got in here, and depending on the stop, you could have put your stop there and maybe wouldn't have hit target, but it would have been a better play. Gives you a better opportunity. Coming in here, there's our outside or our bar one, sorry, and then inside break. A little aggressive on the break. I think that again, that bar one could be the answer there. Let's keep going back. Okay, this one, even if we had it set to bar one, we would have got in here. It's still a great entry. I'm liking that. Let's go to this one. Okay, a lot of inside bars here. A lot of inside bars. If you had set it down here, you would have missed the trade because there's too many bars to get there. So it would have canceled out. I also like the idea of having it set to a 1 instead of a 2. That'll keep us out of that trade. It's obviously it worked, but is that the trade that we're really looking for? I don't know. If you set it to the outside or to the bar 1, you wouldn't have gotten in until here though. So that would have gone against you if you changed that. So interesting. Let's keep going. Yeah, there's the bar, there's the break. This one, I can't see the wick on here, so I'm not sure, but looks like that would have been a stop out pretty much no matter what. And then this one, inside break. Interesting. So this one pierced the target, got the break here. So the only thing I can think of is that it went down. No, I don't know. I don't know why that one's showing as a stop.
I'll take a screenshot of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's maybe not right. The breaks on the lower side of the bar for the short trades and all the breaks on the higher long trades. Yes. So with the inside bar and outside bar, directionally from a signal perspective, it's whichever breaks first. So if you have this as your bar, this is inside. Let's say we're using bar 1 just for the sake of making our life simple. Is it breaking the high or the low first? That's what we're looking at. Yep. This might be a good one that if you are overextended, you might want to keep out of those trades. Because the theory is you don't want to be trading short potentially on a breakout if your market's overextended. That'll keep you out of some trades that are maybe already cooked. Because if the idea is you've got a big bar, inside bar, you get a break here, well, that's a liquidity sweep and you're getting run over. So that's kind of the theory there. Okay, here's our bar 1, inside bar, break. If you had broke here, still a clean trade. I like it. If you had traded the break here, this was actually going long, so you would have avoided that. So I think we're going to take a look at it from the from bar 1, max delay 1. We'll maybe leave it at 2 for now so we can look at it that way. That's fine. Entry. Let's look at it from an offset. Let's see if we get better better results from the offset.
You know, one thing on both the entries and the stops, you have the choice of either bar 1, the mother bar, or the inside bars. Just remember that you can accomplish both with the offset. So if you just have to, if you're using the inside bar, you just use a larger offset to get entries farther away or stops farther away.
Yep.
So the method only tells the software what's the starting point, what's the reference price to apply the offset to. So, you know, it's just a question of, do you ever want to consider entries closer than the bar 1? And if you do, then you use the inside, you know, the inside bars or the inside bar range. But if you want to start at the bar 1, high or low, then it just means a different offset size to get to the same entry point. It's just it's something that you settle the question in optimization, but we're just trying to give as much flexibility as possible. That's really why we included both.
Yeah. So what I've got here is entry offset is 10. Okay, so what that is saying is that it has to go 10 ticks beyond the high or the low in order to get the signal. So now if I was to set that to a 10 as a pullback here on entry offset ticks, this is a bit advanced. Entry offset, now what this is going to do is it's going to require it to break 10 ticks and then come back to the point and then go. If I have it set to 20, it's going to break the 10. It's going to come back 20 ticks and then it's going to go. Okay. So that's kind of what this is doing. So looking at this, I kind of like the idea of keeping it at 10 and 10, and let's see what it looks like. We're just trying different things here. Max pending order distance. Yeah, so if it goes 20 and then comes back, then it's too far gone. Let it go. I'm going to change this to 30. No, let's leave it at 20. Let's try that. Okay, max pending orders 2. Cool. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what we come back with. As a reminder, you can always show your log, and this will give you your different back tests that you've run so you can compare it to what you've already run. So right now we're at 89 trades at negative 1259, and we'll see what this one comes back as. I don't know. I don't know that that's a capability actually, Dan, but I don't think it would make much of a difference, to be honest. I think it's, yeah, I don't know if that it's something that would be really relevant. Okay, so already we've got some improvement, a little bit. We've reduced the number of trades, which is fine. That's the whole point of optimizing and doing all this. So let's go to the chart and check it out. Now I'm going to go a little further back since we've already reviewed some of these trades, and we'll go a little further back and check them out. So win, and then this one got back in going short off of this little thing here. We can avoid that trade by saying max 1 per direction. We can also avoid this trade by saying it's overextended, but then again, it was overextended here, so not a big deal. No trades that day. Remember, this is a 5-minute chart, so you're not going to get trades every day. Not on a 5-minute. There's one clean entry, clean, looks good. So now with these, I want to look at where's my stop and target. Am I in good position on my stop and target. Stop looks great. Target looks good. Could we have gotten a little more out of it? Yeah, could have gotten a little more out of this one. And let's go back. Look at this day. Came up, got the break, kind of a small candle on that bar one. I don't like it. Then we've got this one was our bar one, inside, breaking way later. I'm already not liking this. And so I'm going to bump this up. Let's go to 0.8 and let's run it again. See what we come back with. So we will be getting less trades. The idea is now we want to look at it from a profit factor standpoint. Did we improve our profit? And if so, then we've improved our profit factor. So if we're reducing the trades but not increasing the profit, then what's the point? Right? Unless it's like amazingly different from a drawdown perspective, but right now we're just kind of getting our initial settings and then we can go in and optimize. It's doing its thing here. 2 trades for every entry. First one has a fixed target stop, second one does not. Yes, you can. Okay, already getting better again. So we reduce the number of trades, increase the profit. So mission accomplished. Let's go back to the chart again. And this time I'm going to go a little further back even. And we'll just go to the previous day. Okay, what are we looking at? Looks good. Great. Came down, came back, got us. Came down. Yeah, this is bar one here. And then we were inside. We got the break, came back. Target. Yeah. Maybe a little tight on the target, maybe a little too far down on the entry. But it could just be a one-off. So let's go check out some more. No trades. Again, not going to get trades every day on a 5-minute. All right. There's our inside. There's the break. Clean looking trade. I like it. Could we have gotten more? Yes. Same thing here. Looks good. Entry, good target on that one. I don't mind that one as much. And let's go back. Keep going. Okay, we got long. The histo EMAs have crossed. There's our. So, okay, so this is what this one's doing. It's a little harder to see. There's our mother bar inside, broke here, came up, closed, came back, entered on the limit, and there it went. So I like that. That's great. Delete, please. Okay, coming up, inside, down. It's beautiful. Histo's up, EMAs are up, everything's up, but we took a short and it worked. And then you would have tried to get long here, and that one did not work. Frankly, I don't have any problem with that trade. Obviously, you're trading into the highs, but you can't control that with an algo. So, which lines crossed in the EMAs? So you see these in the VML. There's these 2 lines. I'll kind of highlight them here. I know they're hard to see. It's, probably a small screen and stuff, but. And then these 2 EMAs are here, 9 and 20.
You can change the color of those 2 lines, make them easier. Not you, Jim, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, we'll do that.
If whatever background you're using, if maybe use white and yellow or yellow and blue or something, but you can make them easier to see.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if we had any filters, then we would have missed this trade and we would have still taken this trade. So it wouldn't have been a net benefit in that case. Let's keep going. Another day, no trades. Shazam, looks good. Good target. Could have gotten a little more. Looks good. And if we had a bigger target, we would have missed this trade. So that could have kept us out of that one. Interesting. Okay, so we've got a good starting point. I feel like this is something that we can work with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save it. Always save everything you do. MNQ starting point. All right, saved. Now I'm going to go to the optimizer. I'll go to the optimizer 2000. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to pull up the settings again, even though we just did that. Just trust me. Just do it anyway. All right, enable inside bar. Yes, not going to change that. Inside bar signal delay, we'll optimize that. Bar size, we're not going to do the type, but we will optimize for the size. And I'll just leave ATR set to 5. That's fine. Entry offset, I want to look at that. And then all this is fine, fine. Entry offset ticks, yes. Max pending order distance. Max pending order bars, I'm really not interested in messing with that. 2 is fine. Enable algo stop loss. I want to optimize the percent and the location. So we've got a lot to test here, and then I will, after I've gotten through all the other stuff, then I'll look at filters. Okay. I'm going to do this so I can see these a little better too. All right, let's get to work. Max bar delay, I'm going to leave it set to 1 for right now. The first thing I want to look at is the minimum bar size. So I'm going to actually just optimize this separately. I don't want too many iterations here. I really just want to see kind of getting the initial trade set up for us. So we'll just do 0.5 to 1 by 0.1. And then I hear Jeff breathing, so I feel like he's got something to say.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to mute.
Okay.
Forgot to
No, it's
mute.
like, Jeff's like, I got something to say.
You gotta remember to do that.
All right, let's go ahead and run the first optimization. I just want to see how long it's taken to run these and get a feel for it, and then we can look at adding stuff. A lot of data with MNQ.
Yeah, we probably picked the most time-consuming instrument.
Yeah, we sure did. Crude would have been better.
We'd already be done by now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Taking a little while here. I might give you guys homework. Okay, here it goes. All right, so we've already done this. Now we are going to the optimizer. And we're looking for, first, we're going to optimize for the algo parameters. Then we're going to optimize for entries as far as location. Then we're going to optimize stops, targets. And then we'll go to filters. And then all along the way, we will kind of monitor the times. Okay. All right. So when we are optimizing, if you have one setting out of the bunch that is way better than all the others, usually it's a fluke. The way I look at optimizing, and this is just my own way of looking at it, is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You don't want to get some Frankenstein type of optimization that looks nothing like what you intended it to be, because, well, then it's just not going to be what you wanted it to be, and it's probably not going to be consistent. So it's like you want the back test to be good, but not too good. Because if it's too good, then you got to question, like, is there some curve fitting going on, right? So we look at this one. We had a better setting with 2800 at a 0.9. And we originally had this one at 2022. And really, that's the second best one. And we were at an even 1, I believe, on this one. We were at 0.8. So what is happening is we filtered out some trades by going up to 0.9. And that gave us a better win percentage and gave us more profit. So we will stick with the 0.8. That makes sense in this case. It's not too much different than what we were seeing on the chart, so we'll go with it. I'll give it a second to catch up here. I can't wait for Tick Blaze. All right, there we go. So we'll just stick with this one, 0.9. We'll lock this in for now. Let's test a couple other things. Max intrabar signal delay, we'll just go 1 to 2. Entry offset in ticks. Now with this, we're not going to do like every single one of them. We can go by, let's go by 4, and we'll go from, we'll just go from 8. We'll go to 24 by 4. Entry offset ticks here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to calculate how many iterations I'm getting to, though, because I don't want to get too many. All right, so 8 to 24 is 8, 12, 16, 24. So that's 4 times 4 is 16. So we're at 32 so far. I think that's probably good. I don't want to get too many more than that. So let's run this. Oh, 50. I was way off.
Oh,
I
because it was
must have
5 times
miscounted.
5. That's
It
why.
was 5 by 5. Yeah, okay.
You can get a number of iterations can climb really fast when you're
Yes.
looking at a lot of them. It just depends how much time you want to spend at it.
Mm-hmm. So this will be good, though, because we can get a number of these things locked in, and then we'll look at the max pending order distance. I may, depending on what we come back with, I may test these two together again. Hopefully I can narrow the range, though, a little bit. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about while we're waiting for our test here? So we'll monitor the times, entry location, yep. I can't really think of anything else offhand. This is pretty much the process on it. Now, once you have your back test, though, your optimized settings, you've got optimization 1 is in the books. Then at that point, you don't need to optimize everything again. You're going to only optimize certain parameters for each algo. Now, each algo is going to have different things that make sense to optimize on the regular. There may be some things that you don't optimize. Things like the time of the day or moving average filters, or maybe you like having the momentum filter on, or maybe you like having structure, and you know that that's something that you're always going to have with that. Then you don't need to optimize that every time. The first one always takes the longest. And then after that, it's just a matter of testing a few things at a time. Oh yeah, how do you get the optimization to be a template? So good question. What you would do is load the optimization, then you have to actually run the optimization, unfortunately, and then you can save it as a template. If you're in the optimization and you've already run it, then you don't need to do that. Just save it as an optimization and then go to backtest and then save it again and run it. I know it seems goofy, but I just always assume that one does not talk to the other, backtest versus optimization. If you assume that, you'll always be good. So.
I found that if you select the optimization result that you like, and you want to save that, if you just save it, save the template, I mean, that will be an optimization template. But then if you like, let's say you open a chart and you load it on a chart and pull in that template, it'll be a backtest. It'll only look, it'll load it as a backtest.
Yeah.
You know, like it ignores all the ranges and minimum, maximum, and increment. Ninja is a little tricky.
He's got all the tricks. He's done this a few times. How many algos we got now?
Oh, I lost count a long time ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Can I test the 250 with the 500? What do you mean, Hal? Dollars and cents? What are you talking about? Stop. Oh, God, I hope not. No, Tick Blaze is on another level, guys. There's just no comparison. When you start back testing in Tick Blaze, you're gonna love it. Yeah. I mean, it was designed by quants for hedge funds. So to say that it's sophisticated, it's an understatement. How to load the template? Wouldn't be a short blurb. Yeah, I'll do it here. Don't worry. Do you have an algo that focuses breaking out of a range, price range, time price? Thrust breakout, if you use it on a higher time frame, you could accomplish that with thrust breakout. Springboard, kind of similar, not really. No, not really. Trying to think, ATR vol, maybe. Pattern finder, maybe. Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say pattern finder could be one.
Thrust breakout's probably your best bet using it on a higher time frame. Can you get close to a 75% win rate? Sure. Potentially. I mean, it just depends on what you've got it set for risk reward too. Risk reward at 1-to-1, it's pretty tough to maintain 75% win rate from an algo. It's not easy because there's some things that you can filter for and other things that you can't. And so it becomes more of a long game. I would think if you could get 75% of your days to be winners, that would be a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. Watch the Algo Brains. That's a good one.
By the way, I found that link and put it in the chat. That you're talking about that 3-hour brain training thing we did.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's about a 3-hour session. I put that in the chat and much earlier. So just scan up, you'll find it.
Very good. Anybody here own the HFT algo? Anybody here got the HFT? Did you guys get the video that I made on the optimization of that one? And what did you think? I'm curious what the what the consensus is on that if you guys got a chance to watch it. Yeah, okay. I mean, profit factor of 18 is like you can't lose. That's like losing one out of 19. Risk for 250, just divide all the numbers in half, Hal. Just divide all the dollar amounts in half. There's not going to be any difference testing wise.
The only difference would be if you made it small enough, then it might actually skip some trades because isn't enough dollars to risk. You know,
Yeah,
that's about the only. But then, since
but that would
your
be with
lot sizes were,
one contract. I
yeah, I
mean,
mean your
you'd have
lot
to be
sizes
at
were well over
over
that, so you'd have
50
to go to,
ticks.
yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
go to the really small dollar risk.
Almost there. Come on, you can do it. That's the infamous question, Keith. We get that one a lot. It's hard to answer. It's it's a matter of what sings your song, you know. What do you like in terms of trading? What tends to be some of your preferences? There's an algo for just about everything at this point. Reversals, trends, breakouts, that sort of thing. We can help you narrow the focus, but there's price action algos, there's indicator-based algos. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Some of the more recent stuff we've done have some more bells and whistles and are better for prop trading. So that could be a factor there as well. All right, finally got our numbers back. Woohoo. This one looks good. So what did we come back with? Let's go check it out. So 1 to 2 came back at 1. These are all ones. Is that the parameter? Max intrabar 2. This one is 1. This one is 2. This one is 2. They're kind of pretty mixed, actually. So we may not have that one locked in yet. 16 offset was the best. Let's see what the second one was. 16. Entry offset 20. Entry offset 20. 16. So clearly 16 to 20 seems to be the number. What did we go over next? This would be entry offset. So let's check that out. We came back with 8 and 8, entry offset 8, entry offset 8, entry offset 12. So we're kind of seeing a pattern here. Seems like 8's the number. So let's keep it locked in at 8. Do that. Let's go. I am just going to leave this at 1. I like the idea of let's go. Let's get in it. Let's not finagle around. We're just going to go for it, get in the trade, and let's move. So this one was 16 to 20 was kind of the range. So this will give us 2 iterations. Entry offset's the same. We're going to leave that at 8. Now, pending distance, we're going to do 16 to 20, and we'll go by 4s. So this should be a quicker test. We're just testing a couple things. And then we'll come back and look at a couple other things. Profit factor, low drawdown algos. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big factor too, Daniel. For Keith, that's a good factor to consider too, is looking at drawdown versus profit. If you're a prop trader, that's a big one. For our prop traders, they want low drawdown and high returns as a ratio. Now, bear in mind too, this is 38 trades across 2 months. So it's about a trade a day on average, a little less than one trade a day. So keeping all that in mind, you would want to use this type of process to look at other instruments you may be interested in trading. Like in ES, you could optimize for an ES as well, but bear in mind that ES and NQ are very correlated. So you would want to maybe look at picking what's your best choice for the day and then run that one. So if you have a setup for NQ, one for ES, and you're trading longs because that's your preference for the day, well, then you pick the market that's stronger and smoother, and then you run that one. Okay. So yeah, a bunch of 150s. Cool. Yeah, very good. Yeah, if you want to, feel free to send a message into support, Keith, and just let me know a little bit about your trading strategy, what you're trading now, and I can maybe kind of point you in the right direction, or maybe what you're looking for, or some things that you have in mind. And I'll send some recommendations for you to check out. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to look at, and so it's definitely kind of daunting when you're first looking at it, trying to figure out which one's which. Yeah, so cool. So this came back, 20 is still the number. So we'll keep that at 20. And then this one's 16. I wonder if it's that much different. 16, 20. Less trades, less money, about the same profit factor. So we'll leave it at 16. Cool. So you can already see we're starting to get some pretty decent numbers back now. When we first started, yeah, it's like, we had this giant, cluster of rock, and we're slowly chiseling it away at it to make it look like something that is going to give us some purpose. I want to look at the stops now. I want to kind of dial into the stops. We're going to keep it at the inside bar because I think it's pretty solid. And then let's go ahead and look at the offsets. Let's go by fives, and we'll go 25 to 50. Let's go 20 to 50 just for fun. And so that's going to give us 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 7. That's not bad. And I don't really want to pair it up against anything. I just want to, these are all kind of locked in at this point. I just want to make sure that nothing is still showing a range. Otherwise it'll take forever. Good. Let's go peek in on our hours of the day and see what those look like while we're at it. Just want to make sure we're good there. Entry time. Yeah, so till noon. We had one that sneaked in before that. So the way that you can avoid that is if you just go 11:59 and it'll cut it off. Really, I'm not worried about it though. All of them are profitable. It's a good thing. Yeah, cool. So let's go back to summary and let's run the stop loss offset. And then there's really not too much left that we have to do on this one. Yeah, that is pretty cool. It's, you start with a big basket and you start throwing stuff out. It's like you get your basket of berries and you throw out the ones that are nasty. I don't know. automatically disables itself on a sim account. Is it after it takes a trade, or is it right away when you enable it? Let me know on that, Stefan. It could be something in the settings, but if not, we'll have to look into it for sure. That is interesting. I am not sure. Send a message to support if you go to the ARC website and then just click on the support. Go ahead and send us a message. We'll look into it for sure. We'll check it out. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be. And there it goes. Now it's moving. Okay. So we've got some more improvement here. 38 trades, still a decent number of trades, which is great. So for the stop placement, there's a couple of things you really want to dial in on is don't just take the highest dollar amount. Look at the next ones below it. Look at the profit factor. Look at the drawdown, especially. These two at the top look great. Good profit factor, good max drawdown in terms of percent versus the gains over the course of those trades. So that looks great. Let's see what was coming in. 35 on the first one. What's the next one? 30. Next one, 50s, probably a little too big. 40, 45, 25. So we had it at 25. And so expanding it out was the best. 35 was better. So we'll go ahead and run with that. And we'll keep it at 35. So at this point, the only other thing I want to look at is this this histo crossover, which I suspect is not going to be relevant at this point. But let's go ahead and optimize for it. I'm not going to optimize the EMAs themselves on the histo, but I do want to just look at it there. I just want to make sure I locked in the other setting. Yes. Okay, cool. Good. And then we'll double check risk reward here as well. But let's do that one first, and then we'll do the risk reward. And then we'll pretty much be done after we do that. I think we'll be good to go. When we can paste these in the Discord as one that we did together. And then you guys have a pretty decent idea now on how to optimize this thing and get what you're looking for. Remember not to get too crazy with your settings. You know, come up with an initial setting based on what you're seeing on the chart. Get a good starting point and then whittle it down until you got something you like. But don't go too far out in left field because then you'll have something that's completely irrelevant for the next week. And always make sure you've got enough data. You don't want to optimize based on a basket of 10 trades. That's not going to do you any good. Cool. So number stayed the same. Better to have it off. We didn't improve our drawdown. We didn't improve our profit, and we barely improved our profit factor. So there's no point. There's no point in filtering out those trades. So we got rid of 14 trades that were, let's do the math on that. We have 79.10 is 52.09 divided by 14 trades. We gave back $192 a trade. Our average trade is 208. It's not that much different, so it doesn't make sense to do that. Cool. That's good. Last thing that we'll look at is risk reward, just to be sure. Set this back to false, and risk reward, we're going to do 0.5 to 2. And let's go by 0.25. So we'll get a few iterations here, and then, yeah, 7's fine. It's not too bad. And then this will be the last setting that we probably have to test for. Okay, yeah, Daniel, go. I would say have a good day. Well, try your best with that news. Yeah, good for you. Okay, it is running and running. Any questions you guys have about the algo itself? Anything else that you're maybe not clear about that you wanted to touch on while I've still got the manual up here? Just want to make sure if we need to cover anything else again.
I wanted to mention one thing. One thing I do, I'm not saying, for you to do it, Jim, but when I'm doing this, you can add additional columns in the,
Yeah.
you can go to the settings for the strategy analyzer and add things like average trade size, average winning trade, average losing trade. There's other parameters that by default it's not selecting. And I find it useful to add a few different, like it's about 3 or 4 columns I like to add. So you can just scan through them and see which ones you might want to add. It just helps when you're sorting through them.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's a very good point.
I actually make that the default. Once I set that, I make that default strategy analyzer. So every time I pull it up, it's going to include those extra columns.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's a very good point. Okay, so the existing number is still the best, 1-to-1. Not surprised because we've already optimized it pretty heavily. So we'll just go ahead and keep this locked in at 1. Now I'm going to show you the process. Here we go. Here's the process. And here's how you save it and pull it up. So the templates we have. Okay. Guys, this template was not yet optimized. This is my own template. We're doing this together. This is not re-optimizing any of the templates that you already have. This is in and above what you already have. So the templates that you have are optimized. Okay, we're not going to give you templates that are not optimized. Yes. Really interesting, Stefan. I'm glad to hear it. That's good. All right, so we've got our optimization here. What I'm going to do is go to template, save, and I'm going to just save it as this again, because that's fine. And then now when I go to backtest, it's going to pull up these numbers. 5.9, 16, everything that we've optimized comes over. Now what I'm going to do is, because I've saved it as an optimization, but I don't want it to be an optimization template. I want it to be a backtest. So I'm going to go and save it again from the backtest window. Now it's saved as a backtest. Just to be sure everything matches up, I'm going to run it again, and I'm looking for 7910 to make sure nothing changed. Okay, so I'm going to run it one more time and make sure that everything is the same. That is the test, isn't it? Okay. Came back the same, good to go. So now we've tested it through 3-1. Well, what did it do this week? Is it going to be great? I have no idea. This is the joy of backtesting. Sometimes you'll get all the way to this process and you'll run it forward and go, I got to re-optimize some things. It's going to happen. I want to make that promise to you now. Okay. You're going to optimize it. You're going to run it forward. You're going to look at it and go, geez, that looks not good. In this case, it's 4-4. Is that anything to freak out about? Nope. But let's go to the chart and check it out and just see, is there anything else that we need to re-optimize? You're going to be a few optimizations deep before you really get something that you're happy with, that you don't have to optimize as much. Okay, so just to be clear, expect it, it's gonna happen. Welcome to algo trading. This one just didn't work. I have no problems with this trade at all. It's a good good opportunity. The only thing I don't like is this wick here, but I can't tell the algo to look for a wick 5 candles ago because it's a liquidity sweep. It is what it is. It's a losing trade. Let's take a look at this one. Yes, it's a winner, but do we like it? That is the question. There's the range, broke the range, good stop placement, great target placement, got about as much out of it as you possibly could. Let's go to the next ones. Let's take a look here. Got a reversal type of setup, coming in off of a strong move down. We've got a big candle here. This one is, it's a tough one. You're trading back into the gap here, the fair value gap. There's no problem with this trade. It's a decent look. The only thing that you could have done differently is maybe set the bar range requirement to be higher on the mother bar, which actually looks like it's the bar before it. Looks like the mother bar is actually this one right here. I can't see where the wick is because of the line.
And if you're willing to accept a lot fewer trades, you can use a moving average filter.
Yep.
I think a lot of the templates that we shared used a lot more filters, so you
Did
didn't
it?
have as
Yeah.
many trades.
We could look at optimizing that as an example. But then this one was anti the moving averages and worked well too. So you got to decide what works for you as a trader, what you believe in. This one, great entry location. Good looking trade. Got about as much out of it as we could. Let's keep going. No trades. One at the end here. Kind of right at noon. It worked out though, so that's great. There is an auto disarm. Yep. There is arm disarm if you run it in auto disarm mode. Great looking trade here. I don't have any problems with this trade either. Just didn't work. So no, I think these settings are good. Are you always going to have every 8 trades be profitable? No. If you look at it over the course of from when we ran it back to January 8 till now, let's look at the equity curve and see, are there any major drawdowns that we really need to worry about? And then that'll kind of tell us. I don't think there's any reason to re-optimize these just yet. I would, with a 5-minute, you really don't want to optimize every week on a 5-minute chart because you're not getting as many trades. So you may have a run of 10 trades where you're breaking even. If I think for most traders, if they have a couple of weeks where they go break even and that's the worst thing they encounter as a trader, they're probably doing pretty well compared to most traders. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it just yet. So we're going to get the data and look at it all together at this point.
To be fair on the comment about using moving average filter, this is 5 minutes chart. So I think we used a lot of moving average filters on the 1 minute, 3 minute
Yes.
in the templates.
Yes.
So I'd say the shorter the time frame, maybe the more important it is to use the.
Yeah, I think so. I think the shorter the time frame, more filters come into play because there's certain things that you want it to do and not do because those charts are trading inside of the faster chart, the slower charts. And so, yeah, those become a bigger factor. And that's why I said when we were talking about looking at it on a 1 minute versus 3 or 5, 1 minute testing and optimization is completely different because you really have to pay attention to that. So looking at the numbers from a prop trading perspective, we've got 46 trades, 70% profitable at 1-to-1, and your drawdown's 921 versus 7,800. So am I concerned that, with a half hour of day looks good? Let's go to the cumulative on the daily. So we had a losing day in here, which was what caused the issue on March 5th. We happened to be a losing day. You had one here on March 6th, and then one here that was pretty sizable. And by sizable, I mean these losing days are only 800, and your best winning days are above that too. So yeah, so it looks pretty good. Let's go to cumulative because I want to see what the equity curve looks like. Really, what we're looking for in the equity curve is, are we going up and then sideways, or we went sideways a little bit, but then we kind of cooked up, a little bit of a drawdown, got out of it, a little bit of a drawdown, got out of it. So, and then kind of flat a little bit here more recently. I don't have any major concerns about this one. I think this is a good standard setting that you could use and run with this, and we'll see how it does next week. If it's flat for the next few weeks, well, then you got to go back and back test it. If you're not willing to let it trade for a few weeks as a break even or potentially even as a loser, then you got to go to a smaller time frame. Okay, so I just want to be fair to the fact that this is a 5-minute chart. You're not getting 3 to 5 trades a day, so got to think about it differently. If you're getting 3 to 5 trades a day, let's say you're getting 3 trades a day. Well, that's 15 trades a week. Okay, so if that's what you're aiming for, you have a couple choices. 1, size down your chart, or 2, add instruments and trade it across a basket of different markets, or add algos. Trade more than one algo on, pick an algo for the market for that day and run 3 algos, So there's different things that you can do if that's what you're looking for. So if you're at 15 trades a week, you might say, well, if I have a losing week, then I need to reoptimize, right? That's pretty much a given. Well, if this system took 46 trades, and this is over the course of 2 months, this is only taking how many trades per day? It's 1 a day versus 3 a day. So you're waiting maybe 3 weeks now. You might be losing for 3 weeks before you go back and optimize this, or you might be flat. So just to kind of put it in perspective here, it's all just a matter of what works for you as a trader. Traders who trade on a 5-minute are looking more of a week to week and month to month versus day to day and week to week, right? So just longer periods of time. But anyway, the process of optimization is ultimately the same for most of the charts. The one difference going down a size. So let's say we go down to 5, we go down to 3, we go down to 1. We got to start looking at what now do we need to optimize. You're going to be more conservative with your entries. You're going to be more conservative with your stop placement and your take profits. You might skew the risk reward to be smaller targets. You're going to look at adding more filters for directional bias because you want to be aligned with higher time frames in some cases. So every time you size down, you got to kind of think about it differently. What are you looking for? And then be a little more conservative. So for an example, let's say on a 1 minute, you're not going to be at a 1 bar delay. You might be 5 bar delay. The minimum size of the bar might jump up to a 1, some of these type of things. Your entry offset might be bigger. You might be looking for, 20 to 30 ticks as an offset. Your entry offset here might be different. Your pending order distance, all this stuff changes when you size down. So just bear that in mind. It's a little bit of the same process, same idea, but just different numbers. Okay, so keeping all that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and load the settings again. and we'll save them as something that makes sense. We're going to call it IBOB MNQ. This is 5 minute. We are optimized through 3, 1. And this is Eastern time. And then if you want to differentiate it from other signals by adding like, risk reward 1 or something, you could do that. But we'll just go ahead and save it as that. And then I'll post it in Discord. Anybody have any questions? Any questions we need to address? You guys good? Did you learn something? Did you get something out of this? Do you feel like you have a little bit of a better handle on things? Good. Good stuff. Very cool. Awesome. Well, good. Let me post. Let me add this in here, upload a file. Awesome. Good, Ben. Very good. You're very welcome. Let's see, templates, and we're going to go to strategy. Hi, Bob. 5 minute MNQ. There it is. Okay, settings from the AMA. Incoming. It's in Discord in the channel. Cool. So go ahead and track them down. And just as a reminder of where you save them, I will show you. I'm sure all of you know this by now, but you go to Documents, NinjaTrader 8, Templates, Strategy, IBOB. So it's that specific location. Max loss, max win. If you're trading on a smaller time frame, yeah, because you might be taking, several trades a day. This one's kind of topping out at 3, so it's not as huge of a deal. But yeah, you could set max loss for the day or max wins. So if you're using a smaller time frame, you probably want to. Yeah. Yeah, you could. So good deal. All right, traders, we are good to go. That's it for us for this round. We went a couple hours, actually. That took a while. MNQ, it's a big market. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here with us. Thanks, as always, for your business and for continuing to work with NeuroStreet and ARC. We're really thrilled to have you. If there's anything else that you need down the line, feel free to reach out. Support is always going to be the quickest, and we'll start there. And then if it needs to come to me or Jeff, they'll kick it over to us. So, Jeff, thanks for hanging out with us and jumping in as needed, as usual. Always good to have you.
You bet.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yep. Take care, everyone. We will catch you soon. We'll see you in the trade rooms and so on. So take care. Have a great weekend. Cheers.